This episode is brought to you by the Ghoulish Gallery, Movies for Days, Dewey Pod Monster, The Aardvark and Magic Moshi Do Red Dwarf, Video Tasties, Voices from the Mausoleum, You Gonna Eat That Crust, and Pop Culture Reflections, all members of the You Run Podcast Network, all available at yourunpodcast.com.
And, before I forget,
I'll kill you if this is a joke.
You want to die tonight?
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
Why isn't it possible?
I can't say nothing. Or Candyman will get me.
You choose the movies.
I had a hard-on this morning when I woke up, Tina. Had your name written all over it.
You score them.
Nice fucking model!
You review them.
For that you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
My name is very fucking confused. What's your name?
Captain Howdy.
You don't want to go fooling around other folks' property.
My goddamn soul. Where's the beer?
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're here. I did, yeah. I'm kind of, not with it today. I've just realised that anyone who watches us on Spotify, so on YouTube, we have a completely different intro, but anyone who watches us on Spotify, they just see you and me like bobbing our head from side to side for the entirety of the intro.
I forget sometimes that gets recorded on video.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. Also, I completely skipped the joke this week, so I'm going to do that now. What do a gamer and a burn victim have in common?
I don't know. What do a gamer and a burn victim have in common?
Neither of them can wait to get their new skin.
Oh, dude. Nerd jokes. The lowest form of humour.
Is that a nerd joke? Is it a nerdy to be a gamer?
Of course it is. If nobody knows what gaming skins are, then yes, that only appeals to a certain group of people.
Anyone who doesn't know what gaming skins are, please call into the show, because I don't think there's anybody who doesn't know what that is.
Oh, I reckon so. I reckon if my wife heard that joke, she would just sit there dumbfounded for a good 10 minutes before I had to explain to her what the hell you were talking about.
Well, try that joke when she gets in later and let me know how it goes.
She would just say, shut up and go to
bed. Anyway, welcome to Horror Movie Review. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
And we are the hosts of the first and the original horror movie review show, run and controlled by all of you, our listeners. We're interactive features like all the time. Everything we do is interactive. We do voting for our movies. You request them, you score them, you do everything. And to get involved, all you need to do is go and follow us at You Run Podcast on any of the social medias. If you want to stalk Mark, because his stalker did pop up the other day with a new account and then vanished, he is
reviews. I'm not poking that bear, man. I am not poking that bear.
So anyone who's listened to the show for a while, Mark had a stalker. She popped back up online and Mark immediately blocked her.
Yes.
She's back. She's back to find you.
Yeah, and just in case anyone thinks we're undercooking this stalker thing, this was a very serious problem when I first joined the show, like to the point where she was reaching out and messaging my wife of accusations of affairs and all sorts of silly stuff. It was like period.
It was a real touch of like, fuck, is this what it's like to be a podcaster? Fuck this, I don't like it.
Yeah, it was strange. I felt like a celebrity for a brief moment.
Yeah, but if you do want to become Mark's new stalker, don't message his wife, just stalk and harass him. He's Reviews from the Crypt or VHS from the Crypt on Instagram. You can send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or record us a voicemail by clicking wherever anyone will allow you to record a voice, an audio DM on social media. We have one this week, and we're going to play that now.
Bitch, you better not. Oh, that was my Miley Cyrus for you.
So yeah, Heather revealed in our group chat that I like Miley Cyrus's music, and yeah, shamed me.
What, you really?
Yeah, I think she's great.
Yeah, you strike me as the kind of guy who's into like serious pop music.
No, not so much. Like Lisa's a big fan of Dolly Parton, and I've listened to some of the covers that Miley Cyrus has done of Dolly Parton stuff, and that's kind of where I've gone, actually, you are quite talented. You're a dick, but you are quite talented.
Right. So how does that tie into Miley Cyrus being a Dolly Parton fan?
Because they're related.
Are they?
Yeah. Billy Ray
No.
Cyrus is Dolly's nephew or something like that. They are 100% they are related. They've performed duets together and all sorts.
These hillbillies, man, they need to stop breeding.
Heather wasn't done though.
Also, Scott, when did you start rating movies on a normal 5 scale? Am I like in District 9? Because I feel like I'm in District 11 now. That's insane. I don't know. I'm very proud of you. So that's wonderful that you're starting to do out of 5, because what Psycho does out of 10. Okay, anyways, listening to the episode. Sorry, I'm really behind. I didn't even get the rest of the other episode listened because I don't know what's going on. My brain doesn't work. Anyways, guys, great episode. We'll be posting shout out soon.
Yes. Well,
Thanks,
basically,
Heather.
what happened was I won.
No, we wanted to give average scores for the show, which ties in quite nicely that because it is the You Run podcast, we're going to add the listeners' scores to that average. So it'll be your score, my score, and the listener's score combined to make the average score. Because then...
Yeah, you know full well that it came down to it, and you knew I wouldn't budge on my 5, so you had to bow down to mine.
I had to bow down to the king.
That is the way I'm going to use to describe it, I think.
If you like the show, don't forget to leave us a review, 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and the little thumbs up in the bottom corner. If you could do all 3 of those things, that will take you less than 2 seconds. That would be great. If you've never listened to before, we are going to hit the trailer. We're going to share the listener scores, the online scores. We're then going to give you a basic synopsis before giving you an in-depth review of today's movie. We'll get your thoughts. We'll share some movie facts before playing a game with Mark that is much less traumatic than last week's.
I hope so. I hope you give me a bit of break this week because I kind of need it. Last week was awful.
Honestly, when I watched it back in editing, as much as I laughed, there were points where I was like, maybe it was too much. Maybe I should have toned it down slightly.
If it makes you feel any better, just know that I didn't sleep very well that night.
Did you have dreams of spiders?
I was just weirdly restless and checking dark corners of the room.
That's amazing. So it turned into almost like a scene from Hereditary where you're staring into the corner of the room, waiting for something to come. Yeah, I felt bad. Today's game is almost an apology because you're genuinely going to really enjoy today's game. It's right up your straight.
Good, I hope so.
Today's episode is a listener request. You could do that here. All you need to do is send us an audio DM and say, I would like you to do this movie. If we really like the idea, we will make it an instant episode. We'll put it into our rotation for this year. If we're not so keen on it, we'll stick it in a poll and we'll let all the listeners decide. But if you request a movie, it will definitely get a shot at being on the show. Today's request comes from I can't even speak, Natashita. And I had not seen this, but I've always wanted to. So it become an instant episode. We're taking you on a trip to mixed reality where the computer and the real world begin to mesh together. And it's not The Matrix. A movie came out in 2006, but looks like it was made in 1994. Bad graphics and PS controllers at the ready. It's time to take a ride with a historic serial killer, Elizabeth Bathory, as all historic facts are ignored and completely bastardized. All you need to do is make sure you stay alive. Wow, look at the graphics.
Play this new game, man. Yeah? Seriously, it's creepy. Oh.
kind of look a little bit worse than I remember them.
Stay alive? Never heard
Yeah.
Yeah, this could be nice. Sweet Sebastian Bach, I want to play.
Miller, you signed in yet?
I'm here.
All right, let's boot it up. The name of this game is Stay Alive. We don't know much else other than we're not supposed to act.
Whoa.
You guys feel that?
Hell yeah.
Oh, what's that? What's that?
Damn it, man, she got me. Some woman, man. Hey, somebody out there?
Miller, who are you talking to, man?
You play the game too long. You know, you start seeing stuff. Hello?
Miller died the same way he died in the game. This can't just be a coincidence.
I think you're right.
You serious, man? Listen to yourself.
Don't you get it? If you die in the game, you die for real.
Anybody out there? Hey.
Oh, shit.
The game's become a reality.
Oh my God.
That's
it's
enough
so
of that.
interesting watching the trailers now, because that is
Yeah.
the entire movie just played in quick succession.
Literally, that is. If you watch the trailer, you have seen this movie and know all of the plot points and half of the kills.
Pretty much, yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
I've just recapped the entire movie.
Yeah, so yeah, it helps as well because where we only take like bullet points now and not notes, I now know exactly what happened scene by scene. And that trailer was long as well, and the most
Yeah.
2000s, like all trailers in the 2000s had this bit like they'd play a bit, then it'd go do, and then it'd like have some writing, and then they'd play a bit more and it'd go do, and that like things like Final Destination. What was the other dreadful movie that come out?
There
I
was a
know
lot.
I know what you did last summer. I still know what you did last summer. I
Those films are
always know.
great.
They're really not. We've never done one either.
So we need to. We really do need to get one of those on because I feel like we'd have a lot of fun with those films.
Yeah, especially too with the
Jack
slightly
Black.
Yeah. I don't think he's politically correct, Jack Black, but yeah.
No, apparently he's had that scratch from his IMDb now because he's embarrassed by it.
Which would you say is worse, Jack Black's Rastafarian or Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder? Which is more offensive?
No, Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder is excellent. I keep seeing quite a lot of news articles these days and interviews where they keep trying to make him apologize for it, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, I won't."
Yeah, well, like I've seen him interviewed, and he's like, "Look, I've got loads of black friends who found that absolutely hilarious, and because of that, I will not apologize."
No.
And
I don't know if
fair
you can
play
really
to
say
him.
I've got friends that's like when you get accused of racism and people are like, yeah, but I've got friends who are black. It's like, can you use that card?
It is very much that card. Listeners score the movies first. They have scored this a 3 out of 5. Letterboxd coming at 2.3 out of 5, and Google a 2.5 out of 5. So listeners and the interweb all think this is distinctly average. We follow a group of teens, including Malcolm in the middle. I was surprised he was there, as they take on a survival horror video game. They soon realize the game is very much real. And just like The Matrix, if you die in the game, you die in real life. They make a decision not to play the game and then find the game is playing them. It leaves them with no choice but to try and complete the game and stop the supernatural curse that's in the video game. Is that about it?
Kind of, in a way, somewhat.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind it, anyway.
That's what they set out to do.
Yeah. But
What
it gets
they
lost in a very generic and tropey 2000s movie midway through.
It does. If you've not seen this before and you feel that this is the sort of movie you want to watch, I think it's only fair we give you a spoiler warning.
Okay, I'm going to explain this shit to you like you're 5. Get your eyes checked. Read the damn episode title. I don't want to hear any bitching, any complaining about how, oh, there's spoilers. No, read it. If you've not seen it, do not listen. Okay, I'm going to...
And she looped again. I still haven't got the hang of this new service of how to stop stuff when it ends.
It's quick on the button today, though.
Yeah. Let's start going through this movie. It starts in a video game. And I was sat there going, this CGI looks fucking dreadful.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this opening, though, is I went into this movie completely blind. I knew nothing. I didn't read a synopsis. I didn't watch a trailer. I just knew that's what we were doing this week. Clicked it, found it, watched it. And I genuinely thought we was in for an entire sort of CGI movie, similar to what you get with the Resident Evil movies, the Death Island and Degeneration and all those ones that follow the video games. I thought that's what we were doing this week. I thought, oh, that's interesting. We haven't done one of these before. And yeah, straight away I questioned the CGI, and I was like, oh, that's an hour and a half of this is going to be tough.
The only way I can describe it is early PlayStation 1 graphics.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit more high end than PlayStation 1, but it's very low level PlayStation 2 quality, if you will.
Yeah,
there's some stuff in it that looked alright, but the external shots coming into the mansion and things like that looked dreadful, like a screensavers from Windows 98. But then once we get inside and the characters are introduced and you see some of the creatures and stuff coming forward, they didn't look too bad. I wasn't awfully against the idea of it being like that for a long period of time, but
no,
enough, that's not what happens.
Conceptually, it's really good. I mean, we see the character in the game. They find a couple of bodies in a room upstairs, and then they get chased by these little like ghost kids. Yeah. And these ghost kids chase this character out onto the stairs where he trips, falls, goes through the banister and ends up hung on chains that are just dangling in. It's a very Resident Evil sort of vibe, the way they've tried to make the game look.
Yeah. It's like Resident Evil, Silent Hill sort of stuff going on.
Yeah. We see the player of the game in the real world and it says game over.
Peter Petrelli, man. Peter Petrelli is in this movie. I was like,
it was. Awesome. I was trying to work. It was bugging me who it was. And yeah, it is.
I'm not going to try and pronounce his actual name. His name's Milo, and I don't know what his I know his last name, but I'm not going to try and pronounce it because Heather will just call him with a vengeance, and I'm not down for that. But yeah, Peter Petrelli, man, I was like, this is awesome. I love this dude. He's fantastic in Heroes. I've seen him in a couple of other movies. He plays Rocky Balboa's son at some point. I was like, he's going to be great in this. Unfortunately, again, that's not how it plays out.
No. What we could have done with is someone coming in and going, save the cheerleader, save the world, and I'd have been more on board.
Oh man, I haven't had someone say that to me in years. Maybe I should go back and watch Heroes again. It's great for the first 2 seasons.
I had to stop myself from doing a Hiro Nakamura accent.
Yes, please don't do that.
No, that is a surefire way to end the show abruptly. So he gets off the game and he goes into another room. And this is the point where I went, what am I watching? So he opens the door to another room that he shares this house with his friends. One of his male friends is wearing a pig mask, doing his girlfriend from behind. And I was like, have I put the wrong movie on?
And that happened so quick as well. I actually had to rewind it, not for pervy reasons, just be like, I'm not quite sure what I've just witnessed here.
I done the same. I rewound it 4 times. I genuinely like. We all have our little kinks and stuff, but the idea of trying to have sex in a latex rubber mask does not appeal to me at all.
Yeah, and in that situation as well, like, is it for him or is it for her? Because who's benefiting from the mask? Does he like being wrapped in latex, or does she like the idea of having sex with a pig?
I don't know, but I guarantee at some point during their intercourse, she will say the words "squeal, piggy, squeal." He backs out of this room, funnily enough, and then he starts hearing noises. We get this really like big crash of lightning, and I was like, "Oh dear, we're now slipping into like the territory of the haunting kind of." Like,
yeah, he kind of before he leaves the room though, he does say to them, "Oh, you guys are died. I played the game. You were in it. You guys died. You died in the game."
Yeah,
like we don't care. We're having sex. Go away. So he leaves, but it's a bit of foreshadowing of what's to come, which it's important that you know that he's told them they've died in the game.
Yeah. as so you get the lightning flash, and it gets very sort of 90s gothic horror for a second, and then you hear some noises of things coming towards him, and he backs out onto the balcony, goes through the balcony, and ends up hung on chains, just exactly how he died in the game.
Yeah, so basically what he does is he goes through the house again after he's left the room, and then he sees this ghostly figure at the bottom of the stairs sort of coming towards him. He panics, runs upstairs back into the room where his friends are having sex, only to find their bodies completely splattered all over the walls and dismembered, very similar to how they were found dead in the games. He then runs back out of that room and towards a balcony, which is very similar again to the games, at which point it reenacts the exact way he died in the game. He gets pushed off the balcony, chains around his neck, and he snaps his neck and dies.
Yeah. We now meet our main character, Hutch. I actually like this actor. I think he's a very 90s sort of stereotypical hero character, but I think he's a really good actor. I was really impressed with him.
Oh, really? I thought he was the weakest of the bunch, I'll be honest with you. There was a few moments in here where he tries to express real, genuine emotion, and I was like, oh, that is rough, man.
See, he was the only character I was invested in. Like, literally everyone else was just fodder. He was the only one I cared about.
Oh, man, I can't believe you went down that path with it. We took completely different views on this guy.
we took different routes through this movie. Him and Malcolm, everyone else is irrelevant.
Oh, no, you see, I completely like the guy who is the arsehole. And then his boss as well. I also liked his boss a lot.
Yeah, so his boss, so he works in some shitty office job, and his boss gets the receptionist to go and drag him into his office. She's like, oh, he's in one of his moods. And the boss, I'm sat there going, you are such an arsehole. He's moaning that he's had to do 100 hours work this month, and it's all this guy's fault. And it turns out he's talking about Silent Hill 4.
Yeah.
And
the guy who we're following around now, who is our lead character, is a big gaming nerd. And his boss basically gives him a job and lets him do what he wants within the company as long as he helps him complete video games and tells him how to defeat bosses.
Is that not your dream job?
Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be ideal.
Yeah, what do you do for a living? Well, I work for some big corporate company. What do you do? I tell my boss how to beat the Bowser.
Yeah, because basically he wants a day off tomorrow, and he's using the fact that his boss is stuck on a level of leverage, and he's like, can I have the day off tomorrow? He tells him how to complete the game, and his boss is like, yeah, okay, you can take the day.
You can have the whole day. It's absolutely fine.
I love his boss, though. It's a guy from, it took me forever to work out where I remembered him from, and I don't know if you're a Friends fan or not, but he's a weird roommate who moves in with Chandler when Joey leaves for a little bit, and he just goes complete psycho.
Is it really? I remember that, but I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, it took me forever. I had to go on IMDb who he was. He's called Adam Goldberg, and I've seen him in loads and loads of stuff. He plays weird psycho guy very, very well.
Okay, in this he plays angry, grumpy, like businessman. He's 3 bad days at the office away from being Patrick Bateman. That's where he is. Hutch gets a call telling him that his friends have died, and then we cut to the funeral. There is a weird girl at this funeral taking photographs. I found this the most bizarre thing ever. I've never been to a funeral where someone's taking photos. Have you?
No, it's a very weird. Again, it's just immediately falling into tropey character stereotype. She's a weird kooky girl who takes photos of everything. That's her role. That's who she is in this movie. And again, I'm going to spend the entirety of this film, once we introduce characters, explaining where I know them from, because this is a who's who of 2000s TV shows. She was a girl in the OC. Did you ever watch the OC?
No, I didn't, because I am a heterosexual male.
Oh man, I lived and breathed the OC for about 4 or 5 years. It was on E4 every Sunday morning, like 3 or 4 episodes in a row, and I lived and breathed it. She went out with Steph for a while, and she was.
You strike me as someone who watched the OC. Also, you strike me as someone who watched Dawson's Creek.
I never watched Dawson's Creek. That was a little bit before my time. But yeah, OC was my Dawson's Creek. I think when I was younger, it was like the OC and One Tree Hill and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, I was a little bit older then. I was like, slightly older. Let's move on. Yeah. Let's not dwell on this. There's no need to dwell here. She has a bit of a chat with Hutch, and kind of inquires why he's sadder than the rest, and he doesn't really give her an answer. We get a huge expedition dump here now of like how they were all gamers and how he was testing for a games company, and it's so like a huge dump of information. And like she was meant to go to that game night, and Hutch was meant to go to that game night, and they didn't go. And I was like, well, it's like it's a bit like Final Destination. So you were the two that lucked out, but it's not that at all. It's just
And again, we get this weird coincidence thing where this little girl, his niece on Nessa, who comes over and gives him a bag. Of all the things that this guy owns in this entire mansion, she manages to get hold of this singular rucksack that has a trial copy of the game in. So just before he died, he was luckily enough managed to pack up this nice little gift back for his friend Hutch to take on and follow the pursuit of the game himself.
To be fair, Hutch had a good but Hutch had a good day at the funeral. He pulled a hot blonde girl and he got a new video game. I'd say that's a win.
As far as funeral goes,
Yeah, his friend is smiling down on him, going, "I've got you, bro." Hutch's girlfriend, who we meet next, is so far out of his league, it's not even a joke.
Who's Hutch's girlfriend?
The dark-haired girl who works in the bar.
That's not his girlfriend.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're all just friends. They're all just collectively friends. It is his girlfriend, and I missed it completely. Her name's October, which is a very cool name to have, by the way. If that is his girlfriend, then he moves on very quickly after her death, is all I'm going to say. I don't think it is. I think they're all just friends. No, the reason they're friends is she's the sister of the annoying guys. No, she's the sister of the annoying guy. And Hutch is best friends with the other guy.
Right,
so they're all just in this weird little inner circle of friendships, but none of them are actually dating.
See, I thought those two were dating, and I'm looking at it going, how? How did you do that? I don't understand how you managed to do that.
Yeah, I think she does swoon over him quite a lot, and he just seems to be very blind to her advances.
As us men are, it needs to be spelt out in block capitals in crayon for us to get it.
Funny, but if someone as attractive as her was making advances in my way, I know I would definitely be aware of it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't, or I would think it was some sort of elaborate scam. So we meet this girl and her brother who works in this bar. Her brother's weird, and I don't know the best way to describe him. He's just annoying more than anything else.
Basically, he's got no filter. He just says it as it is, regardless. He's got no sensitivity to situations.
Yeah, and he's playing with the lighter, and we get like a flash image of people burning in a building as Hutch sort of goes, "Oh, fire!" And
it's so annoying. Every time somebody pulls out a lighter to even light a cig or a match to light a candle, he like quivers in a corner. I was like, "Come on, dude."
You can't say that after last week. You could never say that ever again.
Oh, I know, but come on, man! Like, no, that's not fair.
It's like next time we're together, if I pulled a spider out of my pocket and stuck it on the end of my cigarette.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't do that, would you? That's my point.
No, this is very true. Hutch washing up beer pong cups. Did you catch this?
Why?
He's washing up plastic cups. Throw them in the bin.
That's like putting paper plates in a dishwasher. I just didn't see why he was doing that at all.
No, I didn't get it. And it's completely irrelevant to the story. It's just kind of, I went, why are you washing those? Could they not afford glasses for this production? Did all the money go on the CGI?
The camera lingers on him doing it as well, as if to say, like, hey, look, we're quirky students. We even recycle our cups. I'm like, oh, dude, put it in the bin.
Either that or it was a really important plot point and we completely skimmed it.
Yeah, it comes in at the end to be the reason how they defeat the Queen.
Malcolm in the Middle is here now, and I love this guy. He's such a talented actor. Like everything he's done, he's incredibly funny. He's really engaging. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's solid. He's solid. Everything he touches, really, he's great. I mean, he is very typecast, though, in terms of his... I mean, even though this is very different to what he usually does, it's still within the same vein, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And like, so he's now at Hutch's house. Then the girl from the bar and her brother turn up. Then this blonde girl turns up, and then they're all setting up computers. And I got really excited because this is a LAN party. Do you remember LAN parties?
I do.
Whoever doesn't remember this was basically the early days of online gaming where you could only play with certain amount of people online. So what you'd do is you'd bring everyone to one place and you'd all play together and have your own screens, and it was cool. It was really cool. Like
Yeah.
this is like before the days of Call of Duty. This is like when we're all playing Counter-Strike.
Man, again, I haven't heard that one in a while either.
Yeah, I loved Counter-Strike. It was such a good game. Anyway, they're all going to play Stay Alive, the new game they've got. It's 16 minutes into this movie. It is fast paced. We've had 3 deaths, a funeral, flashbacks, so many characters introduced to us. And I'm not going to lie, it feels very much like we need to give you all this information so we can get going, which is fine. But the thing that really bugs me is they put so little effort into the character development. They're all very stereotypical, almost to the extent of Cabin in the Woods. So you've got the barman who's like your jock character. You've got your Malcolm who's like your nerdy Randy, like Randy from Scream style character. You've got the girlfriend, I thought was the girlfriend, the barmaid who's the hot goth chick. And the funeral girl is like the blonde, the stereotypical blonde. And then you've got Hutch as the hero. They all they've been molded to be just that. And at no point do they become anything more than that.
No, and I've been, to this film's credit, the pacing of it is very rapid. It's bosh, 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 quite consistently all the way through. But with an hour and 25-minute runtime, I have to feel a lot of the stuff with character development and things like that was probably left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
I think the original runtime for this was maybe an extra 15, maybe even 20 minutes, sort of pushing an hour 45. And this has just been snipped to death by the studio. And maybe for better or for worse, I'm not too sure, because we don't know what the other bits are that we're missing, but it does feel like a lot of it is gone. There's stuff in here that where you kind of jump straight from one action piece to another. There seems to be that sort of break in the pace that most like normal movies would usually follow. You'd have that slow bit of runtime in between to sort of give yourself composure, learn a little bit about the characters, and then bang, we're back again. But again, like you said, 15 minutes in, funeral, 3 deaths, we're just there, rapid succession, moving from one place to the next, and just expected to piece it all together.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's not the most complicated movie in the world. I pieced it together quite easily, but I would have appreciated like even a 2-minute scene where they explained how they were linked, because obviously I thought the barmaid was his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what I mean. These confusions come across quite quickly because there is stuff missing in terms of who these characters are, how they know each other. And again, I just feel like that was a lot of the stuff that was probably left on the cutting room floor in order to tighten up the runtime and make the pacing a lot more fluid. But sometimes you need that break in pace in a movie. You need that recoil in order to get stuff together, especially when you get such mass exposition dumped so early on. I don't feel like us discussing it on this movie is particularly warranted because it doesn't deserve it, but it does happen quite regularly in films like this.
Yeah, it really does.
So much so soon.
The game starts and they need to speak the poem out loud to get it to play. The bartender had me crying where he turned around and said, "Can we skip this cinematic bullshit? I need to butter this muffin."
Yeah, he's rapidly trying to press the skip button on his controller. And I've been there. I do it myself when I play.
I was gonna say, are you a cutscene skipper?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'll figure it out as I'm going. My wife, we always talk about holidays and things like that. And she's like, "You're not going to do any research? You're not going to look into it?" I'm like, "No, I'll see it when I get there." She's like, "But don't you want to look at where we're going and what we're going to do?" I was like, "No, because I'll do it when I get there." And it's the same with video games. I don't need this shit. I'll figure it out as I'm going.
Yeah, I'm the same. And occasionally you get a game, for example, like a Silent Hill or like a Resident Evil, where they give you very important instructional information within the cutscene.
Yeah.
And then you spend 20 minutes trying to work it out and then jump online to find out the answer, which if you'd hung around for another 30 seconds, they'd have told you.
Oh, I remember the good old days of gaming where you didn't have the internet and you had to go buy a walkthrough manual, which was about that thick, just filled with pages and pages of hidden clues and Easter eggs and stuff you could find along the way.
And you also had the Games Master magazine that used to have a page at the back with all the cheat codes.
Yes, man. God, we lived in such a good era in our childhood. We really did. Kids
we
today
re-
are missing out on so much.
Yeah, so like if we needed to cheat on a game, we needed to wait till next week when we saw the game on the cover of Games Master magazine, and then beg and plead our parents to buy a copy so we could get the cheat code. And used to exchange cheat codes at school as well.
That's it. It was an actual adventure when you were playing video games. They didn't just take you 14 hours like they do now because you have the power of Google at your hands. Some of these games would take you like a month, 2 months, because you'd get to a certain point and you just have to stop and quit until either your friend did it and you could ask him for help and find out how they figured it out, or you go to WH Smith's and buy a copy of a magazine that told you how to do it.
Yeah. It was a simpler time.
It really was.
We now find out that so now they go to character creation, so we see them creating their characters, and it's telling them that they need to uncover the truth hidden within the mansion, and to do that all they have to do is stay alive. And we now find out that Hutch's boss is also playing, and he's playing in the office, so they're all at Hutch's house and he's in the office. The first ghost appears and Hutch character kills it, and it drops a rose. And they're told by the game they need to keep these roses because if they throw them on the floor, they will make all the ghosts go away and give them respite so they can heal or do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
It cuts into like full on shootout gameplay. And
Which
the
is
boss,
cool. I like it. And again, I know
yeah,
we're going to question the CGI a lot throughout this film, but some of the stuff in here is all right, especially when it's contained to just video game stuff. It's when it starts melding into the real world that it becomes an issue.
Yeah, I definitely this video game. When you're watching them play the game, it looks like quite a good game. It's a first-person shooter with ghosts.
Yeah, in like a mansion castle. It is Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, it's Resident.
Ghosts.
Yeah, it's Resident Evil 1 mixed with House of the Dead 2. That's where this game lives.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'd play it.
Yeah, definitely.
The boss gets isolated in the tunnels while the others are trying to find the diary of Elizabeth Bathory. The boss gets killed by the Countess, who's Elizabeth Bathory. And we see some flash we go back to the real office where he's died. He's like, fuck, man. And then you see like something flash across like the hallway in front of him. They call an end to the game night. I've done LAN parties before. They never ended until everyone died and it was 3 a.m. and everyone was drunk.
Yeah, I've gone from like Friday to Sunday before doing this kind of shit.
Yeah. So no one calls it at like 9:30 like these losers did. Very predictably, the boss is stabbed in the neck and killed exactly how he is in the game. I thought it was really tropey and like,
And again, cutaway. We don't see anything happen. We just get that POV camera run towards him with creepy music and flashing lights, and then cutaway.
Yeah,
which happens regularly throughout this film.
Hutch gets to work the next day, and there are cops everywhere. The cops question him, and one of them's insinuating that he maybe killed his boss, and Hutch's like, "No, I was at this." It's again this big expedition. It's instead of it being a cop just going, I'm a bit suspicious of you. He's like, "Did you kill your boss?" I was like, "You are a terrible policeman."
Well, the thing is, you have the two, don't you? You have the black cop who clearly is playing the role you're saying, which is like just asking questions but being very reserved with his responses and waiting for him to drop his foot in it. And then you have this idiot cop over his shoulder just being like, "Oh, well, you're 10 minutes away. You could have got here and back in time." And I'm like, dude, shut up. You're a bad police officer.
We cut to them playing again, where the bartender now has found the boss's body in the game, displayed exactly how he died in the real world. None of them want to play. So they find the bartender is playing this in his place. And they're like, "Look, we're not playing. We're just going to leave you to get on with it." And all of a sudden, Malcolm makes the giant leap in logic that the game is killing them. Like the leaps in logic in this movie.
I would have made this leap.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I think I would. I wouldn't believe myself for saying it because I know how absurd it sounds. But we have 3 people who have died. The first 3 who had died, 4 people now, sorry. The first 3 have died. The last thing they were to do was play this video game. The next person did the exact same thing and died exactly how he did in the game. See, they maybe should have done some sort of way of the characters finding out how the people died at the beginning. To be able to compare the fact that they died in the exact same way that they did in the game. Maybe if they picked up on their previous play point or something like that. that would have made more sense to make that jump.
Yeah,
but again, I had that information from the beginning, so it was easy for me to make that logical leap.
Yeah, and the thing that I find strange is they all realize this is what's going on, or Malcolm does and tells them, and then they all have like these weird flash cut images and weird experiences. So the girl in the bar sees a reflection in a coffee pot. There's a keyboard that bleeds, and it's all very like haunted house style stuff, and it's just odd. But
yeah,
it's
but I didn't have a problem with that, just based on the fact that they did that ritual at the beginning. So we skipped over it basically. When they're trying to do the cutscene thing, there's this text on the screen, and it's basically like a seance. You can't enter the game without verbally speaking the lines on the screen. And you see each individual monitor. So they're all having this LAN party and they have their own individual monitors. And as one of them speaks, the text then starts to fade away that they're reading, but it doesn't on everybody else's screen. So they've all got to say it. So I kind of saw it as like a sort of like a Ouija board thing. Once you say the words, you're invested in it. And that's why they're now having these visions in the real world.
Yeah, I got it. I just thought it was handled a bit odd.
Yeah, I'm only defending it because I feel at this point it's justified. I will tell it very shortly on this film, don't you worry.
What I thought was even weirder is Hutch was able to get all of the police reports from his friends who died less than 2 weeks ago with a quick Google search.
Yeah, how? That's not possible, surely.
No, literally, he jumped on Google and then he printed out like a police folder report and then took that to all his friends and is like, this is what's happened. The barmaid believes him and everyone else is a bit like, I'm not too sure. And then the barmaid's like, actually, I remember a story all about Elizabeth Bathory. I've got a book on it. And it's like, oh, please don't.
How
Don't
coincidental.
Go. So the bartender wasn't with them when this was all going on. And he's decided he's going to take a drive. And he's driving down this road. And I don't know how to describe this. He kind of like, that he sees a ghost and then he like pulls over and he's all panicked and he calls his friends and they're like, we're coming to get you. The ghosts are real. And then he's mowed down by a horse and carriage.
Yeah. Which again, this is where things start to turn for me, because everything up until this point is on the right path, really, with the concept of the video game into crossing into the real world. But then we get here and he's not playing the game. He hasn't died within the game, but he dies.
Yeah.
And then all they do is after he dies, they give us a cutaway of him dying in the game, but he's not playing the game. So it just doesn't really work.
No, it's like they needed a way to kill people off without them playing it. I didn't get it. I
think, unless maybe if I'm remembering it wrong, and unless he's just left the game idle of him stood in the middle of the road.
It is possible. The police arrive here, and Hutch tries to explain to them that it's the game. Even if you believed it, at what point is that a good thing to have that conversation with a policeman?
Yeah, no. Even if I thought it and genuinely believed it within my heart and soul, I don't think I'd say it out loud. Especially not to a police officer, because I would end up in a white padded room almost immediately.
And the really insensitive cop, he then takes the game and he starts playing it, and we see his character get killed in the game. This cop then goes to, I don't know, the effectively goes to GameStop, CEX, to try and find a copy of the game. And the guy's like, no, I've never heard of that. It might be an underground game. And he's like, and then he starts talking about gaming, and the cop's like, I don't care, nerd. Leave me alone.
Again, we see him die in the game, and it's really cool. It looks like a saw trap where it like clips his mouth and strips his head open. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. He leaves GameStop, gets back into his car, and we just see the car rattle from the outside. We know he's dead because we hear him scream within the car, but nothing happens on screen. Again, it's just another cutaway kill for something that could have been really cool and could have really elevated this film had they focused on him a little bit more.
I think had they put more effort into the kills and less effort into, literally less effort into lots of other things that they over-invested in, I'd have enjoyed this a lot more.
I think so as well.
Hutch now makes some more leaps in logic, and he decides they're going to go to the original house where the deaths happened at the very beginning. And he takes the blonde chick with him to investigate. His backstory that he just shares for no apparent reason of his mum and dad. His dad torched the house, and because he thought his mum had an affair, and the dad the mum died and the dad's in prison until he's 76 and he's now traumatized by fire. I was like, surely
Yeah, this was a news
you could have,
fest. I just missed all that, to be honest.
they could have done it like so much more delicately, but he literally just says exactly what I said.
Yeah, it's like, I hate fire. That was enough for me. I didn't need this.
No. They find the name of the game developer and an address. And they head off to this while he's on the phone to the barmaid who's telling him all the old folklore about how to kill Elizabeth Bathory. So it's 3 nails and then burn her. The cop has been reported dead at the same time. And you've got the barmaid, Malcolm, in the middle in the apartment, and all the cops descend on it and they climb out of the window. Like this 8 minutes of scene, like everything is happening everywhere. And when I was trying to like go, how am I going to bullet point this? So my bullet points is like, I've got, they find folklore, 3 nails, burn her. Police arrive, Malcolm dive out window, girl go with.
But that's pretty much how it plays out on screen. It just flashes between a lot of them, and it's just nonsense. It really is. And I know I've talked about how the pacing is in quick succession. I really drifted out at this point.
Yeah,
because it's just overload of stuff that has no real relevance to the plot or the progression of the story in a way. It does and it doesn't at the same time. All of this could have been condensed so much more, and we spent more time on the kills and we spent more time on character development. It just felt unnecessary to me.
Yeah, and this whole point is literally to get those 2 out of the apartment and over to the big house.
Yeah.
So they're all in the same place. So they're all there, and you've got the barmaid is having a cigarette outside, and they're looking at her on the game screen stood outside the house. This is where they decide that the game is playing, regardless of whether they're playing, the game is still happening. They're still in the game. Why does the barmaid go and explore a random house that's being done up?
I have no idea. And I don't even think the movie has any idea either.
Like, she's outside the house that is just a normal house, and then she like wanders, I don't know, quarter of a mile down the road.
Yeah, like to some like local car garage or something like that. She's in like some makeshift mobile mechanic scrapyard. I was like, what's going on? Why are you here?
Yeah, and she's attacked by the most terrible CGI Countess Elizabeth Bathory.
And again, that's why I was saying, when these CGI graphics transcend into the real world, they just look dreadful. It looks like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's that bad.
Don't be hating on Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but that's done in a way. That's a completely different character. That's Looney Tunes. But yeah, no, that stuff there where they sort of transcend together, it just doesn't work. It looks so poor. It looks really, really bad and very cheap.
Yeah, really overglossed, and it literally looks like a bit of clip art's been stuck onto the film after it's been done.
But you know what's the most disappointing aspect about that is when you get to the end and you see the Countess and she comes out in the real world and she's an actual actress. Looks fucking fantastic. I was like, why didn't you just do that throughout?
Yeah. I don't get me wrong. I don't hate this movie. I know it sounds like I do, but the concept of this movie is great. And there's so many things this movie does well. And I'll get to them in a minute, because like the tail end of this movie, I've got nothing but praise for so much they done.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things to do, but it would be very difficult for us to walk through this movie without picking up on these major plot holes and glaringly obvious bad practical visual effects.
Yeah, the barmaid is hung up by her feet, and Elizabeth Bathory slits her throat. One of the only kills we actually see on screen.
Did we see that on screen?
Yeah, we did. Like she like runs like the blade down the side of her neck, and then we get some like just little red blood.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth.
No, it wasn't like it wasn't like a full decapitation. It's like if you get like tomato sauce on your hand and you wiped it on your neck, it's like that.
Yeah, because we get the aftermath after this, don't we? Because everybody apparently knows where she is.
Yeah.
Based on pure logic that I don't know where they've got this from. But anyway, they turn up, they break the door down. And by the way, I hate when they do this in movies, because they do this quite a lot in this film. They knock a door And it's like, oh, it's locked. I'm like, I'm not being funny, but by you rattling that door, you almost pulled it off its hinges. Just kick the door.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they find her, and then they decide they're going to leave because they can't tell the police, and then they head off in the Scooby Doo van that we've not seen at any point up until now. There's just this magical Scooby Doo, silver Scooby Doo van.
Yeah, it's like a tech van that they use from Ocean's 11 and has all like the computers and stuff in it. It's like a mobile gaming van. It's weird.
And this is where I start getting on board now because I'm like, okay, right. I understand now. Logic was not in the writing room. However, probably lots of alcohol and cocaine was. I'm fully on board. I understand. I understand the mindset. I need to look at this in. In case you're not keeping up, the cast we have left is we've got the blonde chick who takes photographs of people at funerals. We've got Hutch, who's our main hero, and we've got Malcolm in the middle. And that's all we've got now. And they decide they're going to play the game to end it. So they're going to complete the game. They need to find her. They need to find Elizabeth Bathory in the real world. And Malcolm goes, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the game and distract the characters and have a little mooch around and tell you where you need to go. He does that while the blonde girl and Hutch go to investigate the house where the game was made. They find a Bathory doll. They find a carriage like in the driveway of this what is quite a modern house. There's just a horse-drawn carriage parked where you'd get a car in a double garage.
Yeah, it's like Sleepy Hollow.
And you get Malcolm calls him and goes, "All right, I've worked it out now. Where are you?" And Hutch is like, "Oh, I'm here." He goes, "Right, go through the back door, go through the kitchen, turn left here." And Hutch is like, "How are you doing this? It's so amazing." It's like, you just left him when he explained to you how this works.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to be in the house you're in, but I'm going to be in the game.
Yeah.
He's basically just walking them through it. It's wild that he doesn't put the two together.
Yeah, I really like this concept's amazing. I thought this was really, really good.
There's a bit that comes up that I'll tell you about, which I thought was fucking brilliant. And I'm sure you probably picked up on it yourself.
You get the blonde girl heads upstairs, and when she gets upstairs, she finds a cupboard. And this is a cupboard that in the game, when they were playing at the very beginning, leads to a secret area. She's like, it is very much that is the cupboard from the game. If I open that, I go to secret area. It's very much that reveal.
Yeah, but we even get like the annoying flash on the screen to explain to us again that it's a cupboard. It's like, it's a cupboard. We see it's a cupboard. We don't need you to then go back to the game to show us it's a cupboard again.
And when she opens it, it makes almost like that Tomb Raider noise when you've found a secret room and kind of doodling.
Yeah.
She finds some dagger-like shears along with Elizabeth Bathory's diary. The lights go out and she screams. And Hutch is like, I need to go and get her. I need to go and get her. I love when he is running up the stairs to get to where he needs. He's like, I need something to get this door open. I need a crowbar. And Malcolm in the game's like, oh, my character's got a crowbar. And he drops it in the game and it appears on the stairs.
That's what I was going to bring up. I thought that was really, really clever. They should have incorporated so much more of that kind of stuff.
So, I mean, like that sort of stuff, that's really intelligent and really clever. The worlds are linked that heavily that if he drops something, it appears there. And the same as like he gets to another door and he can't open it. So Malcolm's character uses the key he's found and unlocks the door.
Yeah. See, that kind of stuff is what you need to expand on when you're making a film about a game that blends into reality, because that's the cool stuff. And it only happens like briefly in these moments. I'm like, oh, what a wasted opportunity, guys.
Yeah. It feels really tropey where the Elizabeth Bathory is tormenting the girls. Like it's very much this era of horror. She's got the lighter and that's the only thing that's lighting the terror in her eyes, and it keeps like flickering out, so it's going black screen, her in terror, black screen, her in terror. Malcolm finds her in the game and she's being terrorized by this character, and he throws down some roses and she disappears again. Such a cool concept. Focus on that. Hutch gets here now and they're heading to the tower. Like it wasn't very well translated, like where they were in relation to anything. It's like, what part of the house are they in? Because they go down into a basement to get to the tower, and I don't understand
No,
Why you've
and
gone
again, that's it. I feel
downstairs.
like there's a big percentage of the stuff missing here that would expand on that lore. Unless that's just my perception of what I wanted from this film. Unless they were just set out to make a generic 2000s ghost story movie that incorporated video games. For me, I personally would have preferred more of the world building than what we actually got.
Yeah, and you say there's bits missing, so it cuts literally from them going down the stairs into the basement. It cuts to Malcolm's character in the game who's now being chased by a horse and carriage.
Yeah.
And then he's knocked into a rose bush. And my understanding is that roses would have kept him safe. But he's not. He's like, well, they
no,
do,
he
but
dies yeah.
He dies in the game, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So he died in the game and he's laid in a bed of roses. And immediately, as you say, we put two and two together and we're like, well, surely he's in a bed of roses, so he's safe.
Yeah. Apparently he's not. The other two now head for the tower. Hutch uses a rose to make the carriage disappear because the carriage is chasing them through the graveyard. Again, this I thought was really cool. The horse and carriage like charging through a graveyard, these four big black horses dragging a carriage, chasing someone through a graveyard is a really, really cool scene.
And the fact if it was filmed at night time, but it wasn't. It was a daytime shot, which kind of hindered it a little bit.
Yeah, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. It needed to be 2:00 in the morning with mist and a big white moon. And yeah,
exactly. And then, like I say, it would have hit a lot of the bad CGI and stuff as well. But the cool thing that I liked about this is just before it gets him, he holds out the rose, and it kind of like dust swarms over it.
Yeah,
I think that's cool when it does that in films. I've seen that done quite a lot, and I think it always looks effective.
Do you want a really cool? It's a really nerdy, but it's a really cool fact. Do you know that dusting effect?
Yeah,
where it turns to nothing.
Like
that
the Avengers
was
effect, where Thanos clicks them all away.
Yeah, so that was discovered by accident when they made a film called The League of Gentlemen. The Extraordinary
Gentlemen.
Yeah. So in that, there's a character called Dorian Gray,
yes.
and when he gets shot, there's holes in him, and it turns to dust. And what they were trying to do was make the hole seal up, and that was it was a complete accident. And after that, that person who created that CGI went, save, stick in
really
folder.
Cool film, that actually.
I really enjoy that film.
There's a rumor around that was a film that made Sean Connery retire from acting because it was like one of the worst experiences he's had filming a movie.
Yeah, I really enjoy it because it's linked to so many books, and I like the fact they've taken all these book characters and like slung them together just to see what happens.
Yeah, it's basically Penny Dreadful, but in action form.
Yeah, you've got like Mina Harker, and yeah, it's great.
Invisible Man and Dr. Jekyll and all the rest of them. It's really cool. I need to watch that film again.
Yeah, I'm thinking that when we're done, I'm going to go and find it. As they're going down in the tunnels, I thought all the like ghost kids were really cool because they're not CGI now; they're proper child actors. They find the torture room and the door to the tower and head up. Well, Hutch does because the door slams shut and separates them. Why do they feel the need in horror movies where you get your male character and female character separated through a doorway or through something? They need to do this really long, heartfelt goodbye where they're holding hands and going, it'll be okay. He could have gone up the stairs, killed Elizabeth Bathory, come back downstairs, got her out and got outside in the time it took him to say goodbye to her.
Yeah. Yeah, that was all I was thinking. It was like, if you just shut up and go now, you will be able to save her. The longer you drag this out, the less time she's got, and the more chance of survival she has got. Less chance of survival she's got.
Yeah, I literally, because it goes on for ages. I'm sat there going, go. No, you can. It'll be okay, honey bun. Don't worry, I'll come back. Oh, you're a couple now, are you? When did that happen? Did I miss that?
Exactly.
Hutch finds Bathory's perfectly preserved body, and she is a person now, and she looks fucking great and genuinely scary. The blonde girl starts playing He Loves Me Not with a rose.
I didn't get this. I was like, you have one rose. Why are you wasting it? And why are you singing You Love Me Not?
I don't know. My note here says, who wrote this script? She's attacked and she's hung up by her feet as Hutch hammers 3 nails into Elizabeth Bathory. Now, instead of setting fire to her, which he needs to, he stops and picks up all the shit he dropped on the floor and starts putting it into a bag.
Even though the ritual says nail her and then burn her. Like,
Yeah.
you missed the last crucial bit.
Yeah, and she stands up and like all the nails just pop out of where he's hammered them in. And again, that looked really cool. I love
That
the
did look good.
Elizabeth Bathory character needs to have her own standalone horror movie. She's a great character.
Yeah,
And the
it's
true
not
crime
bad.
case about her is really cool as well. We'll talk about that in facts.
Oh, nice. So this is actually a real thing.
Elizabeth Bathory is a real character. They completely ignored any facts about history or her life. But he manages to get her back because he uses the reflection of her on his
and again, like there was
laptop.
this thing early on with the dude from
mirrors.
Malcolm in the Middle, and he was like, "Oh, this is weird. Every time she looks in a mirror, it breaks, but this one must be made of metal because it's not breaking." And I was like, "Oh, let me guess, that's going to be important in the finale." And
Yeah.
rightly so it is. He's got a shiny alien computer that has an alloy face to it, which has a reflection in it. He holds it up into her, and they have this weird thing where they do more exposition dump and basically have a voiceover explaining to us that she can't stand to look at herself and all this jargon. And anyway, we get a really cool effect though where she sees herself in the computer and her face stretches.
Yeah.
As she screams.
Yeah, and again, looks okay. Didn't have a problem with that. He sets her on fire, and then his fear comes back, and he sits in the corner. But here comes the twist. He's saved by Malcolm in the Middle, who did not die.
Because he fell in a bed of roses, and we were right. That saved him.
And the blonde girl. We cut to morning as they walk away from the tower together before jumping to the game store we saw earlier, where a box of Stay Alive games has been delivered. End credits as the game fires up and we see the like Elizabeth Bathory stood in the tower in the game.
That looked cool.
Yeah, it did. I've got thoughts about this. We'll take a break and then we'll come back with 3-word review. After this episode, why not head over to yourunpodcast.com and check out the Dewey Pod Monster podcast. Join John and Sean as they take you through everything about consumption, whether it's Gladiators or other TV shows or movies or beer or anything. Literally, they cover it all. I guarantee this show will make you laugh, it will make you cry, it's incredibly entertaining. So for new exciting show to listen to, head over to yourunpodcast.com today. Also, before we do 3-word review, I want to give a big shout out to Angel, Voices from the Mausoleum. Her book has released and it is available. I have a copy that Lisa is currently reading because it turned up and Lisa went, "Oh, I'll take that." If you like horror books, go to Voices from the Mausoleum, click on the link and go and give a read of the synopsis. If you like horror books, it's definitely for you.
Oh, I need to get my hands on a copy of that. I read her short story from one of her previous books, the collaboration book she did. That was fantastic. So I'll definitely need to try and get hold of a copy of that.
Yeah, so this is a selection of all of her own short stories.
Oh, brilliant. I like anthology stuff as well, so that'd be good.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Well, I think it's time for 3-word review. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! We got a scattering. I'll be honest, I don't think many people have seen this movie. It's very, very under-discovered.
Yeah, considering the cast that are in it, I'm surprised I've never heard of it before.
Instagram, we'll start with Voices from the Mausoleum, Angel. Top list horror. So this is on our top horrors. I'm really sorry, Angel. I know you're going to come at me. Randomly, Eric. Goth Sophia Bush.
I don't know who Sophia Bush is.
No, nor do I. And he's your arch nemesis. Have you forgiven Eric yet?
No, he will forever be on my. If there was an annual purge, just know I would come for you first, Eric.
Nerdy Dad 42. It exists, and they're an aspiring filmmaker. Horror Drac didn't understand games, and they're a horror fan and gamer. K Scallon 653, surprisingly very entertaining, and they're a film lover. And over on TikTok, we've got Rebecca, and that's Bad but fantastic, and they're a horror fan. I think it's time for you to get your notes ready.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's that time of the week. Time for Mark to recommend an account. Yay!
So this week's recommended account of the week, again, it's just going to be a short one from me. It is called Horror Shirt a Day. I'm someone who loves horror t-shirts. My wife calls them dad shirts, so I'm not really allowed to wear them out in public if we go out together. She's like, "You're not wearing your dad shirts again, are you?"
I've got a shirt that I'm not allowed to wear in public after I took it on holiday. We went out to see Lisa's mum and dad. It's one that says, "Do you want to see my ask about my ninja disguise?"
Oh, I've seen that on Instagram. I
And
would
then
love to own one of those.
you lift the top up, and it's got like a ninja mask here. I've got a spare one. I'll send you one.
Please do. That would be amazing.
I'll send you it.
A lot of live.
I'll send you one, and we could do it on an upcoming episode.
Brilliant. Well, back to the account. This guy basically has every single horror t-shirt you could possibly imagine. On his account, he's got 1,296 posts. We got there in the end. Each one of them is of a different horror shirt.
Wow.
Which is incredible. Like, some of them are even of movies that I haven't even heard of, but I've like, ooh, that looks like a cool t-shirt. I'm going to check that film out. So if you do like horror merch, you do like horror t-shirts, go check this account out, because they pretty much have every single possible one you can imagine. They don't sell them. They're not there to buy. They're just his own personal collection. But there's some really cool stuff on there that might inspire you to then go and buy some of your own. But yeah, check them out. It's called Horror Shirt a Day. So I'm assuming this account shares a picture of a different shirt every day.
Wow.
But it's cool.
That's
cool.
That's an expensive hobby.
Well, we all have expensive hobbies these days.
Yeah,
I certainly do.
That's a really expensive hobby. Definitely go and check that account out. And anyone who's watching on YouTube who was wondering why I kept disappearing off camera, I couldn't reach my beers, and I was stretching across the room to get a beer.
Very jealous you're drinking, I'm not going to lie.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're doing Dry January, aren't we? Anyway, into facts. The mansion that appears in the video game at the beginning is a carbon copy of the one from Sega's 1996 House of the Dead.
Oh, nice.
Exactly the same house. When the group start playing the game, it comes up with Bellman Games Presents. That's the people who make the game. This is basically merging the two writers together, which is William Brent Bell and Matthew Petterman. So they made Bellman Games to be part of them, which I thought was really cool. I love little things like that.
Yeah, you see, if it was me, though, I would personally have gone with the guys who create the visual effects for it and let them decide on what it would be called.
Yeah. Countess Elizabeth Bathory did exist, but not how she is in this film. So the story takes place in New Orleans. She's originally from Hungary. The movie said that she moved to America 200 years ago. That's a lie. She died in 1614. In the movie, she had died 400 years ago. So they just took the character. In real life, Elizabeth Bathory is cited as being one of the most prolific female serial killers in history, with an alleged 600 victims of young girls. She's said to have tortured them, beaten them, and starved them before slaughtering them like cattle.
Wow. That's insane.
So she's quite often referenced in video games and board games and all sorts of horror stories as a vampire, because apparently she used to like drinking the blood as well. She's effectively the female equivalent of Dracula in folklore.
That is insane.
Really cool character, really badly used in this movie.
Yeah, clearly.
Would you like to play a game?
No.
Okay. Would you like to play a game that has been all geared around you to apologize and make you happy after last week's game?
It better be. If this is luring me into a false sense of security, I'm not going to be very happy with you. You know that.
We'll play Broken Spirit. No, I'm kidding. It's a video game movie, so we're going to do a video game.
Oh, cool.
That makes sense. So I'm going to test your gaming knowledge by playing sounds from immensely popular video games throughout history. And all you need to do is name the game. I know your gaming is set a little while ago. You're not, if I started playing like clips from the Hogwarts game, you wouldn't have a clue. So
No.
I have been very careful to choose all of the audio clips from your gaming era. You will have played every single one of these games growing up.
Oh, man, this is going to be really embarrassing for me being a retro gamer as well if I can't get these.
It is going to be super nostalgic for you and for me and anyone else listening. Play along and let me know how many you got right. You ready for the first one?
Yeah, go for it. That's when Mario dies.
It is when Mario dies. That's from Super Mario. Here's your next one.
That is Scorpio from Mortal Kombat. Scorpion.
Yeah, not Scorpio.
No.
That's a star sign. Right, you're doing well. You're 2 out of 2. Here's your next one.
Thank you for releasing me.
Oh. Can you play it again?
Thank you for releasing me.
That is one of the dragons being freed from Spyro the Dragon.
It is.
Yes.
I love that. That was the first game that you had to collect all of the stuff to complete the game.
And you had to go around and it give you like a percentage of like how many dragons you'd got, how many, then you'd have that one that had that egg and you'd have to forever chase it around the track and you had to catch up to it and jab it and collect the egg.
Yeah.
Man, that's a cool game.
Really cool game.
What have I got?
That is Crash Bandicoot getting the Ooga Booga mask. I think it's called an Ooga Booga mask.
I think it is.
Or Aka or something like that.
Yeah. You do well. You've literally got every single one so far. So let's try this one. They do get a little bit harder now.
What is that? Does it just do it once or are you just playing the same thing over and over?
I'm playing the same thing over and over as it does that once. And it does it every time you do something. And there are people screaming at you right now.
Can I hear it one more time? I don't know that one. I'm going to be so annoyed because I probably do.
100% you do. You even shared your story about it the other day.
No. It's Tony Hawk's. It's can I just have Tony Hawk's or do I
Yeah,
say what it is?
Tony Hawk's, I'll give you that. It's when you do a special trick score.
Yes. That was
right.
quite hard actually, that.
Yeah, they do get a little bit harder.
I know that as well.
This is one of my favorite games of all times.
Right. Your favorite games of all time.
Yeah. I still own this now and still will pick this up and play it for 18 hours. It was a huge game.
Can you give me a clue?
Yeah, it was a ginormous game for the PlayStation 1. It came on 4 discs.
I think I know what it is, but I've never played it. Is it Final Fantasy?
No, it wasn't. It was Metal Gear Solid.
I was going to say Metal Gear Solid, but I don't remember that being 4 discs.
That's the alarm sound when a guard spots you and they get the exclamation mark on top of their head. It goes.
Yes.
Right, so that's you got one wrong. So you're still killing it. Let's try this one.
Oh God, I think
you will have heard
Resident Evil.
It is. I was about to say you will have heard that so many times in your life.
I know. I know, but I'm a pro on that game. I've completed that game so many times. It's very rare I die.
It's a really hard game. The Silent Hill games. They're not Silent Hill.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. Really difficult games.
Yeah, I know those maps inside out.
Let's try this one.
Sonic boom! Sonic boom! Sonic.
Street Fighter.
It is Street Fighter. That's Guile when he does Sonic Boom. You've got two more. One of these is really easy. One of these is, I think, is really hard.
That's Sonic the Hedgehog.
So that's the really easy one. This is the really hard one.
Really hard. That's GoldenEye.
It is GoldenEye. It's the pause screen from GoldenEye. That game is so good as well.
Oh, I'm so annoyed I didn't say Metal Gear Solid because that's what I thought initially, but I was like, I don't remember that being a 4-disc game.
I'm sure it was 4 discs. If it's not, someone correct me.
If it's not, you've thrown me off and ruined my perfect streak on that game.
Well, you got 9 out of 10. That's the best you've scored in any game for ages, and infinitely better than you done last week.
Brilliant. I'll take that.
I've still got the spider clip here if you want to see it today.
No, I do not. I do.
No,
not.
okay.
I'm quite happy now. I'm in a good mood with my retro video game flexing there.
Okay. I'm going to let you round this one up first.
Okie doke. Conceptually, Stay Alive is fantastic on paper, and there's a lot here within the movie that is actually great. There's some really interesting stuff that happens throughout. It just gets lost along the way with its overuse of tropes and interjection of ghost stories and losing itself. The stuff with the video game should have been implemented a lot more heavily and a lot more stricter with its rules than it became. It became relevant at the beginning, lost itself in the middle, and then became relevant again at the end, which is unfortunate because had it had stayed consistent, this would have been a lot cooler of a film.
Yeah.
The cutaway section from the kills was disappointing. Again, we've mentioned had they been implemented better, and we'd have actually seen a lot of the executions using some cool practical effects. Again, would have made the movie a lot better. The casting I was actually impressed with. I didn't mind a lot of the cast. I know you liked the main guy a lot more than I did, but I found everybody else who was involved to be more than adequate enough to fulfill the roles within this film, especially considering the level of overall quality we were getting from it. It was quite a cool nostalgia bump to go back and see some of these characters who were very popular in TV around this time. So I quite liked that. Overall, there isn't really a great deal to say about this film. It's very typical of these straight-to-DVD 2000s era movies that you got, like Dead Silence and things like that. They're all very similar within the same sort of vein of practical effects and storytelling. And this was when ghost stories was all the hype. Just before The Conjuring really took off, we got a lot of repetitive movies that tried to do it before The Conjuring finally did do it, and along with Insidious and things like that. This was the sort of pre-attempt at that kind of subgenre before it really took off. As much as we bashed on this film throughout, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it's a bad movie, because I actually enjoyed it for what it was. There was a lot of cool stuff here that really worked for me, and I enjoyed watching it. And I don't know whether that was because I kind of brought to the forefront how I would have liked to have seen it done better. So in my own mind, I was working out where it would have been a lot cooler than it actually was. But either way, no matter what the overall end game was for my conclusion, I managed to get there myself, and I had a good time with it. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it, it is a film I would certainly recommend you check out. If you've got a spare hour and 25 minutes, you won't begrudge your time with it. I'm going to give it scoring. It's quite hard. Scoring it's actually a lot harder than I thought it would be, because if I was to score it based on my overall experience and enjoyment of it, I would probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. But if I was to score it critically based on the actual overall quality, I would maybe go 2.5. So I'll tell you what, I'll meet in the middle. I'll go 3 out of 5, which I think is quite high for this film.
I'm kind of exactly where you are. Concept for this movie is amazing, but they didn't use it effectively till the last 20 minutes of the film. Which, in my opinion, doing it that late, it's too late now. I'm going, oh, that's great. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, it's over. Do that an hour before, and I'd be like, oh, this is great. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, how, like, I'd be looking like how I could develop that and make that a really big plot point throughout, even from like the girl finding the diary in the game and throwing the diary. Like, I would have milked that to death because it's such a cool concept. The story and the casting, not bad. The writing, script writing's not great. Nor is the CGI, but because of the way they wrote this movie, that it is effectively a PlayStation 1 game coming to life, when they escape into the real world, they still look like PlayStation 1 characters. So I thought it was as bad as it looks, it's a really clever way to get away with bad CGI. Because if anyone ever says that looks terrible, it's meant to. It's meant to look like the character from the game. So it was. I appreciated the fact that they put some thought into. We don't have a huge budget for CGI here. How do we make this work? The director is planning possibly on doing a direct sequel to this, and honestly, I'd go watch it.
Yeah, I would.
A bit more of a budget, some better script writers with this concept. It's got the potential to be really, really good. I think had they done all of those elements earlier, I think this would have become a cult classic.
Yeah,
because
it has a potential, certainly.
It really, really does. It was a bit wasted concept. It's just average. I think in the hands of a more talented writer, this is something exceptional. But for this, it's a 2.5 out of 5. It's sort of bang in the middle. It's not a bad movie. I enjoyed it, but it's not great either.
No. And again, like you say, it's the problem it suffered for mainly is the fact that it's basing it around a survival horror game. And as we all know, we played survival horror games. That part of those games is the journey, is the uncovering, is the mystery and the puzzles that go with it. And it just skipped over all of that stuff in terms of jump scares and lazy jump scares at that, I found. So
yeah, jump scares
I'm stay true to my score at a 3, but I do feel like it is. I feel like it's very generous.
Yeah, I think this. I'm going to release the leaderboard board this week because we've got enough movies now to make it something to look at. This is going to be at the bottom. It's not a bad movie, but it's going to be at the bottom. I guarantee by the end of the year, this will not be at the bottom.
No, certainly not. Certainly
not even close.
On an average of 2.75 from us, that's.
Yeah, and a 3 from the listeners. So yeah, it's done all right. That's it for another week here on Horror Movie Review. We're back with another episode next week, which is picked by you, and it's one of our revisited episodes. It's one that Mark wasn't there for the original, so we're going to go back and do it. But until then, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Can't wait for next week.
No, nor can I. I'll see you all later.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.